Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It is True Crime Tuesday. We got a good one today. Boy, folks, I had the pleasure of reading an amazing book by our guest today. CaitlinRother is back with us today on True Crime Tuesday, and the name of the book is Hooked, a thriller. And we'll get into what exactly Hooked is about here in just a moment. And I want to tell you a little bit, first of all, about passion projects. I guess you could say True Crime Tuesday in itself is a passion project. We wanted to, at first with True Crime Tuesday, combine the subjects of true crime and the paranormal. That quickly kind of fell apart a little bit, as you can only get so many paranormal subjects combined with true crime. But Caitlin really did take a swing at a passion project with Hooked, and we'll explain with Caitlin a little bit, and we'll bring her in here and tell you why Hooked was such a passion project, and really sometimes when you don't succeed, why you need to try again and get it right. And boy, did she get it right. This book is something special, and we'll talk about it here with Caitlin during this segment of the program. Let me tell you a little bit about Caitlin as we bring her in, and really she is the new Ann Rule. We'll put it that way. And she does this book incredible justice as we talk about Hooked, a thriller today. New York Times bestselling author CaitlinRother is an award-winning investigative reporter for 19 years, and has published 16 books, from crime novels to crime narrative nonfiction and memoirs. Rother's, I should just say Caitlin's journalistic work has been published by Cosmopolitan and the Los Angeles Times, the Washington Post, the Boston Globe, the San Diego Union Tribune, and the Daily Beast. Her more than 250 media appearances include 2020, as well as People Magazine Investigates, Crime Watch Daily, Australia's World News, and numerous shows on Netflix, Investigation Discovery, as well as Lifetime, HLN, and Reels. She's a popular speaker. She also works as a writing research coach and consultant. Believe it or not, for fun, she binges on limited series, sings, and plays keyboards in a jazzy bluesy trio. We're not going to ask her to sing today because I have a horrible voice and I'm not going to sing along with her, along with her partner, and she swims in the ocean as well. Caitlin holds a BS in psychology from the University of California. I may ask her to break down my personality here later. That's the University of Cal Berkeley, and has an MS in journalism from a Northwestern University. We have a link in the description of this program to her website, CaitlinRother.com, and you can learn more about her and her different books there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back to True Crime Tuesday, CaitlinRother. Caitlin, thank you so much for coming back to True Crime Tuesday.
Thanks for having me back. And so I hope people don't get confused, but this is actually not a true crime book.
No.
I know you said it was a thriller,
yes.
But I just want to make sure. Sometimes we say a true crime thriller, but this one is not a true crime. This one I made up.
Right. Yeah,
just want to make sure.
Yeah. No. I should have stated at the beginning of the program that this is, of course, crime fiction. And every once in a while on the show, we do delve into fiction. And I have few select fiction writers that I do bring onto the program.
Well, I feel honored. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. And I only bring the best of the best on that as far as fiction writers go. And you are, Caitlin, the best of the best. Let's not.
Well, thank you. That's so nice of you.
Let us not mistake it. And I've seen other wonderful, amazing people call you the new Ann Rule. Let's not mince anything here. Mince whatever
mince words.
Mince whatever it is you like to mince. There are a lot of people that push you right up against Ann Rule. Let me ask you the first right off the bat here. How do you feel about that when people say CaitlinRother and put you up against Ann Rule and say one and the same and put you in that same air of greatness?
Oh, I think that's a great honor. When I was first starting out, Ann Rule was still alive, and I would feel very humble when I would have my one or two books on the shelf, and she would have two shelves of books right next to mine because we were both ours. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of books. She's been writing for a long time. And then It's funny. The book that I wrote, I think you had me on for, Death on Ocean Boulevard, about the Rebecca Zahow case.
Hmm.
She actually started covering that when I was planning to write a book. And, basically she kind of blew me out of the water because once Ann Rule steps in, even if it's in your own town, you kind of lose your spot because, there's competition in these books. And, if you have more than one book out on one case, whoever gets there first, often has the advantage. And I often had that same issue, but not with Ann Rule.
Yeah.
So I would keep going. If there was somebody else who was a lesser name, several times, because there was another publisher that would do those quick hit books and they wouldn't even cover the trial really. They'd wait till the trial was over and immediately launch their book. And then I would wait until after the trial. So I would have a very comprehensive, authoritative look at the entire case. But I had a number of books where I had to do that. Anyway, Ann Rule passed away after doing a short version of the Rebecca Zahow case in one of these books that she used to do with a collection of stories as opposed to one case per book. And so she passed away, and then I stepped in and I was able to do my book without any competition. So I of course, read her version first, and I was curious about it. Anyway, that's my little Ann Rule story. And it was really nice. I've had her son reached out to me and introduced himself and said hello on Facebook. So they weren't insulted, I guess, by that comparison that Greg Olson made. I was very flattered by that.
I think it's a it's very much a fair comparison. I think it's a good comparison, and I think it's a wonderful comparison because the two of you are what's a good way to put this? Words escape me today. I'm sorry, Caitlin. You caught me on a
I
bad
think the
day.
reason that some people have said that is because the way she approaches a story is her storytelling technique, I think, is somewhat of what people were talking about. And also just she's considered the expert, right, in this field. So that's why I took it as such a compliment.
Well,
So
not only that, but if I may, and to be fair, both of you had characters that not only were so very relatable, but it's just you can throw yourself into the story and you're there, right? Both of you had these characters that I mean, and you get gripped to the story and you own it. You own it in your heart, right? And
well, thank you. Yeah, I always try to do that as best I can. Sometimes with true crime, you don't get access to people and you have to go based on what other people have said or observed or what you observe or what the detectives can pull out or, you can't always get to interview people. And even when you do interview people and killers in particular, alleged killers or convicted killers, whatever, a lot of the time they're just lying anyway. So,
yeah.
you kind of just sometimes just tell it straight and the reader can tell, so it's always fun though, because I always say the way that I approach a book, and so I do fiction the same way as I did nonfiction, and that is that the good guys are not all good,
Mhm.
and the bad guys are not all bad. I have three-dimensional people because people are not all good or all bad. There's always something. There's always a lot of gray.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I approach my fiction the same way, and people are flawed. And in fiction, and especially in crime fiction, I think people expect characters to be really flawed. So it's always tricky. Like in this book, Hooked, when I have a female investigative reporter main character, obviously pulled a lot of myself, but she can't be me, or it doesn't work. This is not an autobiography. This is a character that I'm building. You
Well,
know,
and
so
I don't know where it is I saw it, but I oh no, you know what? I think maybe it was in the back of the book. You had said that it was important that Katrina Chopin, who's the investigative reporter, wasn't you.
thank you for pronouncing that right.
Not a problem. I have a bit of musician in me as well. Um, but it was important that Katrina wasn't you. That it wasn't just a direct reflection of you, which is refreshing. That she had to be a separate person. Um, and I think it's refreshing too because I know a lot of authors who will say, "Oh no, she really is quite the reflection of me," but it maybe turned up to 11, or maybe I added a dash of this or that to this character. And I'm glad that you said, "Oh no, Katrina Chopin can't be." she can't be me.
Well, my first agent told me that when he said basically, you know, you have the chops to do this, but you need to start over with a fresh, new, clean file. He read one of the early versions, and I was like, ouch. You know, so anyway, he had his ideas about how the character should be and how the plot should be that I did not agree with. And so this book is not, and he's not my agent anymore either. So, you know, I have my idea. I have to say it was tricky with this book because I've had my very first agent was a woman, but every agent I've had since has been a man. And so when you said you really like this book, I felt really good about that because it seems to me that women really, really like this book a lot. I've had a lot of like effusive, you know, I loved this book. And sometimes I kind of don't get as effusive. Although with the series, I've written 4 books in the series. I've got 2 under contract. The other 2 are under submission. Number 4, I've gotten effusive reviews from the people who've been reading all along, and including the men. So I feel pretty good about it. I think I finally got the hang of this. You know, I have to just convince my editor, publisher, to do all 4. So.
Well, I teased at the beginning that this particular book is a passion project, and sometimes you just got to keep whittling away until you get it right, so to speak. But and you had just said that you know in the beginning you kind of had to.
Well, yeah, and what I was going to continue to say was that the first couple agents that read that, actually, I had another one who supported it. I shouldn't say all the men agents didn't like it. My very first male agent did like these characters, but this was way back when, and they got rejected by publishers. So I've rewritten it multiple times, and have gotten better. As you know, as I've written more and more books and more narrative nonfiction books, which are also written with fiction storytelling techniques, I've just become better in telling a story, and I've gotten to absorb and experience a lot more about real homicide cases and real homicide detectives and how they operate and what the protocols are and what order they do the investigation. So I mean, all of that had to happen before I could say it's soup. You know, is it soup yet? Now it's finally soup. But it seemed like it was tricky for some of these agents who are no longer my agent to kind of get hooked on the idea about having 2 main characters, a man and a woman, who are playing off each other. Because, you know, so often when you have a detective story, you have one detective. He's either a man or a woman, and he's like the lone wolf. And, you know, maybe there are other characters, but they're out there usually working alone. And I was just really stuck on this idea of having these 2 coming at each other, competing from different sides of that line. Because when you're a reporter, you are not allowed to share information with your sources. You want the source to share information with you. And the police don't want to share information with the media because they're trying to protect the integrity of their investigation. And so right away, it makes for the perfect dynamic of conflict, which is the epitome of any story. You want there to be conflict. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So not only do I have that conflict between the reporter and the police detective, I have them attracted to each other from the get-go. So, right, they meet in this bar and they immediately connect through some personal stories that they somehow feel like, well, it's easier to tell a stranger something than it is to tell someone you know something personal. So they immediately connect, and then he gets this call. There's these 2 dead bodies and he's got to go. And she goes, oh, you're a homicide detective? He's like, yeah. And so he gets her number and he's got to go. And she doesn't get a chance to tell him that she's a reporter until, the next morning she shows up at the news conference with her little notebook. And he's like, you're a reporter? So immediately they can't date.
Right,
so they're ready to date. They want to date. And yet they can't. So the one thing that's really important that I did bring to this character, and I bring to both characters, is my set of values, my ethics. Because I think in today's world where there are so many people who seem very challenged ethically, and the things that are going on with the way that journalists are being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to get political, but I think you all know what I'm talking about. It's just, I'm actually really happy that I'm not a reporter right now because I wouldn't want to work under those conditions.
Yeah.
But so this is set in 2015, and it's really an homage to old school journalism when newsrooms still existed, when people still respected reporters, and when people still respected police as being out there to protect and serve, and that they were ethical too. And we've had so much go on in challenging those ideas that I wanted my characters to be good. And I know there are some writers who write about how great it is to be bad and how the police are corrupt and how the killers are obviously corrupt, but everybody's corrupt and it's fun, And I'm like, okay. I mean, obviously, I have corruption in my stories too, but I want my main characters to be good.
Right.
I want them to, and I think that that's unusual. And I don't know that you see that much in fiction these days because everybody's like, everyone has to be so flawed. They have to be bad. Everyone has to be bad. I'm like, no, actually, I don't think that's true. I think it's okay to root for somebody who's really a good guy. And yeah, they're flawed too, but they're still good. They have a good heart. And they believe in right and wrong and the rule of law and all that.
I was going to say I'm gonna backtrack and then come back forward again.
I talked for a lot.
No, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. And again, it's your spotlight. The idea of having the two investigators here and having the two play off each other, especially the romantic vibe, I think you're ahead of your time, to be honest with you, because there's the. I'm trying to remember the name of the show now that's on USA that has the two lawyers, the male and female lawyer that are in separate firms. One's actually, I think he's kind of a rogue lawyer that's working. I can't remember. Oh, Tim, can't remember the name of the show, but then the one is with the opposing firm and they're going at each other, but there's the romance there. And again, way ahead of your time.
I was kind of thinking about, remember that show Moonlighting?
Yeah.
So I'm was drawn to the idea of having these characters who are attracted to each other and competing with each other and bantering with each other. And there's this sexual tension and you can get really close, but you can't cross that line because what's the reader waiting for? But then there are these people who are like, well, aren't they going to have sex? Aren't they going to have sex? And I'm like, well, okay, but not yet. I mean, there has to be some tension and some conflict. I think that adds to the whole point of the dynamics in the book. And so I'm not going to give anything away, but yeah, they're not going to have sex right away, no matter how much they both want to. And it gets to the point where they're going to lose their jobs or they're going to lose their lives. And I think that's a pretty good incentive. Oh, yeah. I have to tell you this quick story. Sure. I was on a business trip at a hotel with my partner when he goes to these optics conferences. I come with him. We play music in a band with all the other optics professionals, which is really fun. But there was this like romance convention going on with all these women wearing red gowns and tiaras and stuff. And I went over and I started talking to them and I was telling them a little bit about my characters. And they're like, oh, our characters would just have sex. Who cares about ethics? They would just do whatever they want to because they would just have sex. I'm like, well, there are rules. There are rules, like you're not allowed to date. Oh, I don't care about that. And, we want our characters to just have sex. So that's what I'm saying is, I want it to be, I think it is unique. I think that everybody's just crossing lines on TV and in books all the time. And I just wanted my characters to follow the rules and that would cause tension, which is good in a book.
Yeah. And you're right.
And they'll have sex eventually, but you got to wait for it.
Right. And no, you're very right. And that's where I was going to start to come forward here a little bit is that you're right. There is too much of the, there's too much corruption, I think, in modern day storytelling. There is too much not following the rules. There's not
violence, so much violence.
Right. And there's
not
enough,
want that.
There's not enough black and white, and there's not enough of the tease. We'll put it that way. There's not enough of the tease. There's not enough of the hedging towards the, are they going to, are they not going to? There's not enough of the enemy lurking around the corner and is something going to happen? there's not enough suspense, right? And we're not getting enough of that. And it seems to me like, okay, so I'll bring it to another medium. It seems like Hollywood is giving us less of the jump scares and giving us more of the suspense now. We're starting to get back to that sort of storytelling, and I'm glad that you're bringing that back to novels and to books, that we're getting that in that type of storytelling, because where otherwise is the thrill, right? We can
Right.
only have so many different tropes to throw out there, and we've had too much of a fast food society where it's like, give it to me now, give it to me now, right? And okay, so you can only get fast food fed so often, right? You can only get your
Right.
gratification so
Right.
quickly,
Right.
and then what, right?
But I definitely, I mean, this series actually is about corruption.
Mhm.
So it's not like it's so boring, like my characters are so perfect. There are plenty of characters who are bad
Oh yes,
in this series.
oh yes.
So, and it's about the good guys going after the bad guys. And that's something that I did when I was a reporter. I felt really strongly about right and wrong. And apparently I always have ever since I was a little girl. So I bring that to both of my characters. And it's not to say that, you know, maybe somebody won't bend a rule here and there, but ethically, morally, you know, I just have always had a strong sense of right and wrong. And I've been actually called honest to a fault. I've gotten myself in trouble.
Well,
So,
uh, I tell you what, Caitlin, let's do this. Let's take our break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about this universe that Hooked is a thriller is
okay.
in, because it is a fascinating one in that there are players all around and you don't know what it is that they're trying to compete for. I mean, there's the obvious. You've got, and what I love about your books is there's the obvious carrot out there that everybody seems to be going for, and then there's the underlying that that everyone really is going after. And you've done it again. I mean, there's this I tell you, at the end of the book, I went, "Are you kidding me?" Because I thought I knew the entire time as I'm reading the book that I thought I knew who did it, and at the end, I went, "Yep, I didn't know,"
Oh, good. I'm
and
glad to hear that.
I really didn't. I mean, as I'm reading the book, I think I thought I knew, I thought I knew, I thought I knew, and the curve was there at the end, and I went, "Oh, are you kidding me?" I had no idea. I had no idea. Literally up until the last 40 pages,
That's
I had no
awesome.
idea.
That's great. That's
So
great.
you had me. You had me the entire time. Literally, you had me hooked. So there you go. Hooked a Thriller is available right now. We have a link in the description of this program. So what we're going to do when we come back is we're going to talk about this universe that Caitlin has put together in Hooked a Thriller. And I'll tell you, it is fascinating. We're going to talk about the investigative reporter, Katrina Chopin. We're going to talk about the detective, Ken Goode. We're going to talk a little bit about that immediate attraction, but there's a little bit more than them just meeting in the bar and then kicking it off. There is that corruption there that we'll talk about with Caitlin when we come back. We'll talk about the players involved. So there's a death involved here. There's a death that's happened, and it's a death of a woman in a house.
Two deaths, two
Yeah,
suspicious
yeah.
deaths.
So there's a death of a woman and her father, and we'll talk about that woman and her father, and who they are, how they fit into the story, and we'll go from there. And we'll find out exactly how everyone connects in this exciting story. So, Hooked to Thriller is the name of the book. We have a link in the description of this program. Go get it during the break. And when we come back with Caitlin Rother, you'll get hooked on this story. I guarantee it. So, more next with Caitlin Rother here on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. The name of the book is Hooked, a Thriller, Katrina and Goode, Book 1. The author is in front of me, Caitlin Rother, and she's a genius. I'll tell you that much. This book is an
Wow,
amazing
God, you're
book.
really laying it on today. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome. The book is a great one, folks. I encourage you to go get it. We have a link in the description of this program. We also have a link to Caitlin's website. I want you to check that out as well. Get some of those other books that are out there as well, too. Caitlin, before the break, we had teased that we've got not only Ken Goode, and we've got Katrina Chopin out there. We've got the investigative reporter. She happens to pop in for a drink. Ken Goode is there as well. there's some sparks flying here between the two. And as they're beginning to talk about their mutual stories that they have between the two of them, and they've made a bit of a connection, our detective gets a call, and there's two bodies. And he has to go investigate. Who are these two bodies, and what is their connection to this case? What's going on with this part of the story?
So, okay, I have written a number of true crime books about cases where the evidence seems weird, off. Okay. So, as it turns out, many killers want to try to cover up what they've done. And so they mess with the crime scene, right? Mm-hmm. So when Ken Goode gets to the scene, this is what happens. He goes, this evidence isn't adding up. Is this a double murder? Is this a double suicide? Is this a murder suicide? I mean, what is this? Because the pieces of evidence that he's finding, and I don't want to go into too much detail just so I don't ruin it for people, but it's basically just, it doesn't add up. Something's weird. And so he's not sure what's going on. And so that's why they label it as a suspicious death case. So even though the homicide team comes in, they're not immediately saying this is a murder because they can't tell if it's a murder. He can't tell. So basically, and he's not even sure that they're father and daughter right away. He's got to figure that out. But it turns out that it's a guy who's a cosmetic surgeon who also has been working on this sexual enhancement drug. Now, this was one of the most fun things that I have to say about this book is that I got to make up a drug. It's in a little bit of a sci-fi thing. So San Diego has a very strong biotech community, and I wanted to kind of honor that. And so Sorrento Valley is this area that we have where there's a lot of industrial biotech firms. And so basically, you've got this drug that's under development. And there's not a drug like this that exists in the real world. We have Viagra, and apparently they're just starting to come up with something for women, but you don't have anything that is for both sexes, that varies for both sexes, that has a psychological component. What you have is Viagra, which only works on your physical aspects. So basically, not to get too graphic, but it adds blood to certain areas, makes your penis hard and big, right? Okay, right. Simply scientifically. This drug will do that, but it also works on your brain. So it works on your dopamine receptors. So if you know anything about dopamine, we know all about the smartphone. That's why we're constantly picking it up, because we're addicted to dopamine. Every time you pick up your phone, you get a dopamine hit, or you're trying to, because you think you're going to get some kind of reward. Okay. So it's basically working on your dopamine receptors. And the idea of the drug is that it makes you feel perpetually that new feeling. When you have a new relationship, you meet someone, you're super attracted to them, you're infatuated with them, you want to have sex with them all the time because that feeling is so great. Well, this drug is supposedly going to make married couples, it's going to reinvigorate their marriage. It's going to make their marriages last longer. It's going to just keep that feeling going. And I thought that was a kind of a fun idea, right? My first agent, the one who told me to start over, he said, well, it sounds exhausting. And I'm like, well, you're just not the right agent for this book if you don't like the idea that I'm trying to do here. Anyway, so as it turns out, this dude who's an older guy, he's got white hair, he's invented this drug, okay? And it's in development. They're doing experimental trials, and we learned a lot about these things during COVID when we were, hearing about these mRNA shots for COVID, and they rushed that approval process. Well, and if you have an emergency, they do that. If you have just a regular drug going through the regular process, you've got to go through these protocols. And so, basically, the board of the company that's working on this drug, there's a couple people on there who are pretty impatient, and in fact, the whole La Jolla community of these rich white men who have this idea that this drug is really going to make their lives better. And they're thinking how they're going to go out and get some young hottie. They're not thinking about taking it with their wives, although that's hypothetically, strategically what the company was thinking was going to happen. These older guys are all like, can't wait for this drug to come out, you know.
Yeah.
So I just had a lot of fun with that. So this daughter is the COO for the company, and it turns out she's got a whole history of addiction. And now I have to just say, this is a whole sub theme that runs through the series, and hopefully, if we get to book 4, we will have book 4, even if I have to publish it myself. But one of the themes that's important to me in my life and is important to me in the stories that I choose to tell, both nonfiction and fiction, a lot of them have addiction themes. So one of the characteristics that's common in some of these characters, the guy who's dead and the publisher of the newspaper and Katrina's boss and some other people who I'm not going to go into, their kids all met in rehab. And I know because I went through rehab with my husband, who was an alcoholic, that there's a family treatment group. So when your spouse goes through rehab and treatment, there's a family support group meeting where you all meet together. And so I pulled this from my experience. And so these adults go there because their adult kids are in this program. And so the adults end up, having a relationship with each other as well, from bonding over the years, because these kids relapse and they keep going back. And so anyway, I wanted that to be part of the whole thing. And Katrina's brother, as it turns out, was also in that same rehab group. And so that's part of what she and Ken Goode are talking about at the beginning in the bar, that each one of them has a loved one that allegedly killed himself. So for Ken Goode, it was his mother. And for her, it was her fraternal twin brother, although she thinks maybe it wasn't a suicide, maybe it was a murder. So that's kind of hanging in the balance as well. So anyway, that's kind of the background. And this woman who's found, she was also in the rehab group. So you're not sure Goode's not sure when he finds her body, what's going on, because slowly he's learning about, her history, and he finds things in the house that kind of, elaborate on that.
I thought one of the more genius things about this drug, correct me if I'm wrong here, Caitlin, is that not only can men take this drug, but women can take this drug.
Yes, there are different formulations for men and women, which has to be true. If anybody ever develops a drug like this, we have different needs. Our bodies respond differently, and our brains respond differently in order to get ready for sex. And, the men will be more successful, even if they don't take this drug, when they figure that out. That's why we have foreplay, and, men who rush it don't understand. Anyway, so there's all this stuff that has to be right for each person and each gender. And this drug miraculously addresses those issues. I love this drug. I wish this drug really existed.
Right. When I was reading it, I thought, if there was the scientist that develops that drug becomes a trillionaire overnight.
You gotta think so. And that's what I figured. I had one of my beta readers is a professional toxicologist, and he was like so impressed with this drug. He's like, there isn't a drug like this. I go, I know.
Right. But if there were,
right.
Think of it. Because
I'm using scientific basic foundations, from what I've learned from these different cases, and from what I know about. I'm really into a lot of medications. I take a number of medications myself, always have. So I'm always into learning about drugs.
Yep.
And a number of the cases that I've written about have dealt with people, like I said, addiction. And so there are different drugs. I've learned a lot about them. I also learned a lot about the whole FDA approval process. And in this case, that's part of the corruption. There's somebody who is trying to kind of fudge their study so that they can get through the approval process. it's with, and some other underhanded things that are going on.
Yeah. Yeah. As I sat and read the book, I thought, man, not only that, but I mean, this is my mind spinning off out of control as I'm reading too, thinking potential side effects, right? I mean, because there's always, when you watch the commercial for one of these drugs, there's always 18 different side effects that they try to cram into 30
A
seconds.
4-hour erection. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If, if you have an erection for more than 4 hours, either call your buddy or call a doctor, one or the other. You either got to brag or you got to get help, one or the other.
It's got to be really painful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but I can imagine.
But then but what happens on the female side of that if you're aroused for that long?
Well, you gotta wait for book 4.
Oh,
those questions will be answered.
They will be answered, huh? Okay.
That's all that book 4 is about. The drag is finally released.
Okay. Well then,
right? That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Well, then we'll have to wait for book 4 then, because I can't wait.
And mayhem ensues.
Mayhem ensues, huh? Well, then I got to find out. That's good to know. That's good to know. There's some other players here, and again, I don't know how much we can get into it, but there's the most obvious current, and that's this drug we're talking about. That carrot is out there. That this is the, I guess, the fulcrum that runs the machine, or the fulcrum that gets everything going.
Can I just hop in with one thing? One of my favorite characters is Vincent Betrell, the publisher.
The publisher, yeah.
So I had so much fun writing this character because, as I said before, none of my characters are all black and white, all good or all bad, right? This guy, you want him to be better. He's a businessman, right? And he's always trying to do something unethical or immoral or, good for business, but, coming from the wrong place when you're running a newspaper, you're supposed to have different ideas for running a newspaper than you would if you were just running a straight business, because you're trying to help the community. You're trying to expose wrongdoing, even if it's one of your friends, right? So I love writing him because he's always doing something wrong, and Katrina's got to be there to correct him and try to put him in line. And he tries to threaten her, but she somehow manages to get this ethical thing going and convinces her editors who are under him to basically outsmart him and shame him into doing the right thing. And and he's like threatened by her, but he respects her because it turns out he was in love with her mother. Right? So that's a whole other thing, which will be developed more in the series as well. But I loved writing him because of this giant gray area that makes him who he is.
I was going to say, that's the other carrot that sits underneath, and that's the secrets and the corruption. And again, there's some stuff we can't get into, but there's that underbelly of secrets. I don't want to say secrets, lies, and corruption, but that's kind of that underbelly.
No, that's what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing that really that keeps pulling Katrina in, not so much our detective, but I mean, our detective does want to get down to the bottom of it and cleave through it and get to the truth. But boy, that's the one that really gets Katrina involved and in too much trouble at times, doesn't it?
Yeah. And this is the sequel, which I already have staged. This is coming out in June. It's called Staged. This is book 2. You will get way more into the corruption and what's really going on. So I'm just giving you a taste in book 1 of what's the bigger picture is going to be revealed in books 2 and 3. So,
okay.
Which is why I can't say too much, because I start getting the books mixed up, I'm like, but we're only on book 1 and I didn't reveal that much in book 1. So.
Wow, really? Because it seems to me that the doors get blown wide open about maybe.
Oh, there's many surprises to come.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now you'd mentioned the publisher, the editor of the paper, who it seems to me like he's hooked into a good old boy network within the town, the city, and there's do we mention the politician that's involved here, or do we keep him out of it?
Well, okay, so let me kind of just I'm going to just kind of introduce just a little bit of background.
Okay.
These are all made up characters,
Mm-hmm.
but they're compilation characters of people who really truly exist in San Diego history.
Okay.
Okay. And I wanted to make sure that these characters were not replicas of real people because you can get sued.
Yeah.
So they're the reporters, the editors, the politicians, the publisher, they're all compilation characters and nobody is based on a real person. But there you will see if you're from San Diego, I had people from San Diego reading it and they're like, oh, I think I know who that is. I'm like, well, again, full disclosure, these are compilation characters. You may see little pieces and hints of things, and that's on purpose because I think it's more fun for people from San Diego who know the history. Because I covered a number of these cases. We had a corruption case in City Hall. There was an FBI raid on City Hall, and 3 councilmen were indicted for allegedly taking campaign donations as bribes. And one of them, I actually tried to write a book about because he was exonerated and acquitted. One of them did end up going to prison, and one of them ended up dying before going to trial. So I was there and I covered this raid, which was a big secret until it happened, but I knew about it in advance. So I was there. So, I mean, I'm pulling from, just like in true crime, there's real research and real events that some of this is based on, but it is fiction. So you can talk about the politician, but not too much because I don't want to give too much away. But that person was also inspired by somebody who actually was a congressman here in San Diego County who went to prison for taking bribes. So
Wasn't going to say too much other than that. He just seems to have these shady dealings that go along with that seem to interconnect with not only the doc. Well, I don't want to say. I can't say too much.
Be careful.
I'm going to leave it alone. But he seems to weave in and out with their cast of characters along with others. I'll put it that way.
And he'll be back in the sequel.
He'll be back in the sequel. Okay, good.
And in book 3 too.
And in book 3, okay. I want to bring it back to the delicate dance that Katrina and our detective have to do when it comes to sharing information with this initial case, because as you keep pointing out in the book, they have to keep it professional. And yet at the same time, as they're going through this case and trying to figure out what's going on with everything, it seems like our detective is focused on business. He's trying to chase down different leads. At the same time, Katrina Chopin is also trying to get leads and trying to get a story. She's trying to break a story. She's brand new at this job. She's got to come up with something. Yet she has a boss that's leaning on her and saying, well, come on, we got to produce,
That's all real life.
That's just life.
What it's really like. Yep.
And yet she knows that, well, you're supposed to have this in over here with this detective buddy of yours. Why don't you lean on him?
But don't go too far.
And yet
I had that. I had editors telling me that. And I'd be like, don't go off the record so much. Or why don't you go off the record more? And, why don't you see if you can get closer to this guy? And I'm like, but this guy's sexually harassing me. I don't want to get closer to him, so it's like, there's always this careful dance. Honestly, I mean, when I was covering City Hall, I had to do that all the time. And you have to basically do that dance where you have to trust people who aren't trustworthy, and they have to trust you, and they want something from you and you want something from them, and you both have to do your job. And that's what covering politics is about. And in this case, there's politics involved in this case because of who's involved and who these people are, who these dead people. So it's tricky. And it seems, like there are people at the top of the chain in the police department who are getting overly involved when you're kind of wondering why. And so it even though Ken Goode and his sergeant know that they're not supposed to share anything, Goode wants to share in some cases because he thinks she can go do his dirty work for him and expose some things that are blocking him from doing his job. So I tried to really use what really happens in the world and these dynamics that really do exist and put them into play here in this novel. And so I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it really, that's what my life was about.
Did you ever get slapped on the wrist by the authorities for maybe putting something out there that shouldn't have been put out there quite yet?
Um, okay, so this raid that I'm talking about, I discovered that the guy who was eventually went to prison, that he was taking campaign donations from these strippers and these strip club owners from Las Vegas. And I'm like, why is this money coming in from Las Vegas to a San Diego city council race? That's weird. So it turned out I discovered something by going through these documents, as Katrina does,
Mm-hmm.
that something's going on and you can find it in public documents. So I did. And I ended up going to the ethics commission guy. And he's like, well, listen, you've kind of discovered something that we're investigating. Can we ask you to hold off writing this and we'll give you all the story later? And I had to go to my boss and I had to get them to agree. And as it turned out, he never gave me what he said he was going to, but they got me to hold off. And so that way I got advance notice that the raid was going on. And as it turned out, there was another reporter who thought it was her story the whole time, didn't know I had this information, and then we had to work together, and that was a mess. But so this is all stuff I've pulled from my real life that really happened. But I ended up getting a call from the U.S. attorney the next morning thanking me for holding back. And that's the only time I've ever done that. And we did it because we were promised a bigger story, which we did end up getting, but they didn't give it to me.
Hmm.
So yeah, I discovered this stuff and I didn't print it, but we ended up getting things that we wouldn't have gotten because we waited. So you have to kind of, these deals are tricky. You don't, you got to, you can't always, they don't trust you and you can't trust them because then they don't give you what they promised.
From a journalistic standpoint, though, Caitlin, where's the line? I mean, when you're
Which line? There's a lot of different lines. Which line are you talking about?
I'm talking about the line where you decide whether you're going to print with it or you're going to sit on it. I mean,
Well, okay, so you don't want to be responsible for somebody getting physically hurt. Okay. If you know about a crime that's going to happen, you you want to do what you can to hopefully protect people. But by the same token, it's not your job to do that. As a journalist, you're supposed to be objective and not become part of the story. But it gets tricky, and it really differed based on the different people I worked for on how they approached this. I mean, there were some papers, some editors, management teams that I worked for who were super, super scared of everything and didn't want to do anything. And I thought we're way too conservative and scared of getting sued, scared of public pushback, scared of their own shadow, honestly. I broke a lot of stories. I ended up getting threatened. My life was threatened, and it messed up my whole job, because I had somebody leave me a message in a whisper. We know where you live. We've watched your back. We know where you work. We know where you live. We can follow you home. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is after I wrote like 4 front page, really investigative stories that exposed somebody who had just caused an international incident with a trade agreement that he shouldn't have signed because he didn't have authorization. And this is a real story, and my life was in danger. And I ended up, it's a long story, but I ended up using that in these books because what else am I going to do with that? That happened to me, and I might as well use it somehow. But yeah, I mean, it's dangerous to be a good reporter because you make people mad, you upset people, you scare people. So you're constantly having to balance, your personal well-being with what's right, and what your editors will let you do and won't let you do, and what they want. And they don't want to get sued. So I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into this stuff. So depending on the situation, everything, no two situations are the same.
Do you think
But
that
that's a good story, and all these different ethical conflicts and these different decisions and all the stuff that goes into it. And
do you think that ferocity and courage has left the media in this day and age?
I think if you're covering the White House right now, you better have a thick skin and you better be able to navigate all kinds of stuff. Because look what those people, especially the women, look what they're having to go through. Every week you hear about some horrible thing that the president has said to one of the female reporters. It's completely unacceptable by common decency. And I don't know why he thinks he can just talk to people like that. I'm so glad that I'm not in a position like that. I was more in a position where I had to deal with, like, the mayor would kiss me on the cheek, which is completely inappropriate. You don't do that. You don't kiss or touch the reporter covering you.
Right.
Right. You don't, there's stuff like that. I was dealing with things like that. I was dealing with these threats, like I mentioned. I was dealing with people who would say, okay, well, this is off the record, and they keep talking, and you never agreed to that. There is an agreement that you have to make to go off the record. That's a two-way street. That is not someone who could just keep talking and then say, oh, this is all off the record. That woman, Lindsay Halligan, I think her name is, she tried that with one of the reporters. It doesn't work like that. So there are these rules that this current administration, they don't follow. So, I mean, I'm really glad I'm not a reporter right now, because it's like the Wild West out there and people are not safe, emotionally or physically. Honestly, I mean, there are people covering protests who are getting shot, even though they're fully wearing a press badge in a, thing that says press, and they're getting shot in the eye, I'm with rubber bullets. I mean, it's just not right.
Yeah.
We're living in a crazy time, which is why I set this book in 2015. Like I said, I want this to be at a different time so we can have some nostalgia for how it was.
That's true. That's true. There was a time where you could go out with a press badge, or you could go out with a press vest, and you didn't.
And people respected that.
Yeah, and they respected the estate. Yeah, but it's sad that it's not anymore.
Well, and I think there's a lot of journalism today that isn't good. True. I mean, there are not enough reporters. There are very few reporters trying to cover like everything, and you can't do that. It's not their fault,
Yeah.
So you got these people who've bought up, these hedge fund managers and private equity companies who've bought up these journalism outlets, and a lot of mergers and conglomerations, and they're just wringing the money out of these newspaper outfits, and it's not helping the community. It's helping them. And what's left? Not much. I mean, I'm hoping we are going to have, I say this all the time, but I keep hoping we're going to have a boomerang. And I think it is starting. We are starting to see smaller boutique local outfits trying to cover, the news, and trying to fill in gaps that have been, gaping wide because of all of this, shrinkage, honestly.
Yeah, true. Well, I want to encourage people to get an idea of what Caitlin's world might have been like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if she had been Katrina Chopin.
I left the news business in 2006. So I purposely set this in 2015. And when you think about the San Diego Sun-Dispatch, I was thinking about the newsroom when I left it, but I interviewed people who were still working at that time to get an idea of what it was like after I left, because this was a good 7 years after I left, and things did change and shrink.
Okay.
So I wanted to be as realistic as it could be, but that was the old school newsroom where she works.
Okay. It's boy, folks, it's such a good book, I'll tell you. And again, like Caitlin said, book one. And I'm excited to see what book two is going to be like, because once I read book one, I know that again, I'm not spoiling anything by saying it. I can see where it continues.
It picks right up.
Yep.
Book two picks right up.
I could see where it continues, but and I want to see these characters continue, because there's so much more there's so much meat on the bone at the end there. But boy, I I can't say anymore. I don't want to ruin anything. But there's certain, when you said that, never mind. But I'm so fascinated with this book. I'm so fascinated with these characters. Again, Caitlin Rother, you've done an amazing job with this book. Hooked, a Thriller is available right now. We have a link in the description of this program. We also have a link to Caitlin's website, so you can check out some of the other books that she has out there that you can go out there and get as well. The book is out there, and it's an amazing book. There's so much meat on the bone there that is left, that I can see where book two is going to pick back up. But again, you've outdone yourself, Caitlin, and this is an amazing book. I think people are going to enjoy this book. They're going to love this book, and it's going to be hard to wait until June. I'll tell you that much. So,
well, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your kind words.
And again, it was my pleasure to have you back on again, Caitlin. And
mine as well.
Can we do it again in June?
Absolutely.
It would be my pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much, Caitlin, for being on. Caitlin Rother, thank you so much. And again, the link is in the description of the program, folks. Go check that out. Go check out Caitlin's website. Go get some more of those books and catch up on everything that Caitlin's doing. Caitlin, thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks for having me back.
Thank you. Folks, it's time now for us to switch directions. It's time now for us to check in with dumb crimes and stupid criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again. Time we've all been looking forward to. It's time for dumb crimes and stupid criminals. And with that, I need my co-hostess. Yes, I do. Probably now more so than ever before, because you see, it's a long story. Yes, I'm wearing my Vikings hoodie. You can tell, but if you're looking at the video, see, folks, we record the day before. And let me tell you a small little story before I bring her in. See, today is the first day of what they call legal tampering in free agency in the NFL. And I'm a little disappointed in my Minnesota Vikings. Yes, I am. They're letting everybody out the door, and they're not bringing anybody in. So it's a sad day in little Timmy's world. A lot of people are leaving me, and I'm not good with loss and change. I'm just not. So I must not only bring in my co-hostess because she's extremely talented and funny and knowledgeable, and by gosh, she holds this show together, but I may need a therapist today as well. Binder from the Hindustan Times said, how can you call her so caring and empathetic when, by God, she enforces her will upon me and dominates these charts that we have here. And by God, she's the destroyer of worlds, eater of worlds, destroyer of charts. I think is how the title goes. I'm not quite sure. I got to look it up myself. But here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Freeberg. Jess, how you doing?
I'm good. And you know, one thing you can always count on, Timmy.
What's that?
I'm never going to leave you. I'll always be around.
I appreciate that, Jess. It's a good thing we don't have legal tampering here in the podcast world. Somebody would probably pick you up first day, like within an hour of legal tampering.
Yeah, nobody wants me.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true. That's not true. I bet you if they had legal tampering here in the podcast world, you'd probably get a phone call like within 2 minutes of the.
Well, I'd say no. I'm spoken for.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. Well, other than that, I have a pretty good weekend. Busy weekend on my part. But by the way, how do you like the new specs?
I love them.
They kind of open up my eyes a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, you look extra smart. I mean, you always look like handsome and dapper and like a fella who knows what's going on, but you're a little extra today. I'm not going to lie.
They're pretty much the same style as the last ones. Like I said, I'm not big on change, but but they are a little bigger. They're a little,
Yeah.
a little wider. And they,
Now, do you do bifocals or is it just a single? Because I can't see far away without my contacts in, and I can't see close up without my cheaters on.
are you ready for this, Jess?
Yeah.
I am now on a trifocal because I'm getting that.
What?
Birds. I'll try anything once, including trying to see what I'm looking at. Yeah. I was surprised when I went to the uh, place that I got my glasses at, and I'm looking at the chart, and I said, I'm having a hard time with my bifocal because when I see, because with the weight loss, and not like I'm trying to get kudos or pat on the back or anything, but now I've lost about 55 pounds.
Which is amazing.
Go meat stuck in the esophagus. I dropped 15 from that. But what managed to keep 10 off. But what happened was, as a diabetic loses weight, their vision changes, right? So
Okay.
when I got the original bifocals, I had one set of, what your vision is. And then now, of course, as I've lost weight, my vision has gotten better, supposedly.
Well,
But
that's good.
it's also changed, right? So like the top part of my vision in the bifocal, I see better. So I need to change that vision. And then the bottom part of my bifocal has gotten better. So I needed to change that vision. But they said there's this little tiny part in the middle that's neither the top part or the bottom part. It's like a middle part that they said, well, are you noticing that you're having like a mid-range part that you're not able to see? I said, yeah, I keep doing this and moving my iPad closer so I can read when I'm doing my show. They said, yeah, well, there's this little mid-range part that we need to put in your glasses. It's a trifocal.
Well, look at you. Aren't we just getting old and falling apart?
Right. That's what I said. I said, boy, my eyes are horrible, huh? And they said, well, it's part of getting older. So now I have this little mid-range part, which is wonderful. I'm looking at it right now through the iPad. I'm looking at the iPad and I can see everything perfectly. And I can see you perfectly now. I mean,
that's amazing.
Blurry, and I can see you now. And I feel like, what was it? Was it Romper Room where you would look through the mirror and you would see everybody?
Yeah.
They'd say, I see Susie and I see Charlie and I see, now I see everybody. They wonder why I'm smiling so big.
You can just see everybody. I kind of like it when I can't see myself so great, though, like when I'm getting ready in the morning and then I'm like, I look wonderful. It's like nature's filter.
Right? Yeah.
I don't need any makeup. I look amazing. Right. I'm all blurry and I can't see myself.
I mean, people would comment on on Saturdays when I work up at KNSI, I take a picture of myself and I'm smiling. They're like, oh, you look so great. You're smiling. I'm like, yeah, I'm smiling because I can't see myself. I'm like, hey, I think I look great. Now I actually see the picture and I'm like, geez, that looks horrible.
Nah.
Boy. No wonder I need those filters.
Filters are weird though. Then you if you don't know someone really well and then you see them mostly on social media and they use a lot of filters and you see them in real life and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Ooh, weird.
Yeah. I try to use the only reason I use a filter at the station is because it's so dark in there. We're literally in a cave down there. They They put us in a weird, the station is built into solid bedrock. It's a cave.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's a haunted cave at that.
I was going to just say, it's got to be haunted if it's a cave.
Okay. I'll tell you one ghost story real quick and then we'll get moving on dumb crime, stupid criminals. And that's this. There is the ghost it's mainly in the conference room, but it does come out to play in the corridors of the station. I'll have to bring you up there sometime. We'll bring a book up there. But there is a ghost of a talent that committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Unsettled soul.
Yeah. And it's been confirmed by one of the guys who used to work with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of my fellow colleagues that he and I were sitting around talking one day. He goes, oh yeah, I know the guy. And he actually had an auditory experience with that spirit while he was working one Saturday.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I was like, that's a little creepy. He goes, yeah, I would. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's fun. But, and I've taken a few people back to that, including one person who's psychic. I've taken them back to that back conference room. They're like, I do not like the way this feels.
Mm.
It's just, yeah, they get creeped out. So,
Feel that energy.
yeah. So it's kind of an interesting deal.
Yeah, I love a good haunted cave.
Yeah, but it's the whole. They mainly they keep a lot of the lights off in there, and a lot of things is
Yeah.
kind of it's a lot of ambient lighting and stuff like that. So it naturally has a very dark, eerie feeling to it.
Yeah, it has that mood.
Yeah, but then especially on weekends, it is. Ooh, yeah, even I get a little creeped out, and I work there. I've been working there for almost 8 years now. So, but you know.
And you're used to creepy and weird.
Yeah, I'm used to creepy and weird, but yeah, there's even times where I go, maybe I'll actually turn a light on because I don't feel it right. So, yeah, interesting. Big show today, Jess. Big show today. Other than my creepy place of other work, but by all means, KNSIRadio.com when I'm on here.
Listen for EVPs.
Yeah, listen for EVPs as I'm giving you the weather and sports. That'll be fun.
Mhm.
You can hear some depressed jock in the background screaming, "Help me." That'll be fun. And no, that was me doing that. That wasn't the depressed jock who followed me home.
Oh,
Screamed it into a microphone. Big stories today in Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. We've got, we have some interesting stuff. We've got a sheriff who decided he needed to get liquored up before the job, not after. That's unusual. A former Amazon employee has decided he's gone into a life of crime and is just going to steal some stuff and sell it. Former Powerball $1 million man has pleaded guilty in his case. We'll update you on that. Yes, we do have to unfortunately report on a couple of animal cruelty stories. We will shelter you and let you know when that's coming up. We'll give you a trigger warning on that. Our not safe for work category is lengthy today, so we'll let you know why people have decided to get lewd, crude, and nude on today's show. That's coming up as well. But first, I want to tell you about a gang leader, not just any gang leader, a motorcycle club president by the name of Hot Tub.
hot tub.
Hot Tub.
That doesn't sound very motorcycle gangish.
How old do you think Hot Tub is? If I had to tell you there was a motorcycle club president by the name of Hot Tub.
Oh, he has to be older if he's willing to go by that moniker.
Yeah, you're right on that.
Older than us.
Yes, you're right on that as well.
I'll say he's in his 60s.
Oh, I'd go a little older.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
70s?
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Yep. Bandito's Motorcycle Club president Hot Tub has been charged after 3 pounds of meth was found in a Lubbock raid.
Ew. Meth, come on.
Meth, it's evidently what's selling these days. We're going to Lubbock, Texas, where the chapter president of the Banditos Motorcycle Club was federally charged for his role in possessing large quantities of methamphetamine for distribution in Lubbock on Monday. Let me give you a little shot of what Hot Tub looks like. That's a little Hot Tub right there.
He looks like a methy Santa Claus.
He does, doesn't he? That's Hot Tub right there.
I suppose he can fit down the chimney better if you're a meth head. You're skinnier, right?
Right. I mean, you don't have to lube yourself up then. Yeah. You save a lot of money on margarine, oli, or mayonnaise if you thin yourself out with a little meth. 74-year-old Stephen Glenn Riles, otherwise known as Hot Tub, was charged by federal complaint on March 2nd of this year with possession of with intent to distribute meth. Riles appeared before a United States magistrate judge in Lubbock on that same day for his initial appearance on the charges. In early 2025, law enforcement agents launched an investigation into the Banditos notorious chapter president and other Banditos members suspected of drug trafficking in the Lubbock area. On February 27th of this year, law enforcement agents executed a search warrant for the Banditos notorious clubhouse, which, by the way, is also Riles' residence. So they didn't get, evidently they're not making that much money, Jess.
Party at my house.
Yeah, there's not a separate clubhouse. other than Ryle's residence. So it's kind of like, okay, guys, we got a clubhouse now. It's technically my house, but we got a clubhouse. You know, they always tell you to, if you ever listen to Notorious B.I.G.'s 10 crack commandments, they always tell you never get high on your own supply. You never deal from where you stay at, right?
Yeah. Good advice.
That's right. Right. So you never deal from where you stay at. He broke 2 big commandments here. I'm just saying, you got to listen to the song. It's kind of got a nursery rhyme type thing too. So you can bob your head to it and you can get your basic commandments and then you wouldn't get caught, hot tub. That's
That way you remember it if it's like a nursery rhyme. That's why we teach those to little kids.
yeah. And just kind of doom, 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 doom. It's got kind of a nice little beat to it and you can, yeah. Inside an office, federal agents located approximately 3.2 pounds of suspected methamphetamine inside a locked drawer of a wooden filing cabinet. Not exactly the best hiding place. I would think that'd be the first place you go and look.
It's not very inconspicuous, that's for sure.
No. Wooden filing cabinet. It's probably right there. Let's go look there. Next to the cabinet was another cabinet containing Ryle's Banditos Motorcycle Club paraphernalia. So here's the paraphernalia. There's another locked cabinet. My guess is you're going to keep it right next to your memorabilia. It's right there. Right?
He's very organized.
Yeah, you didn't even need to bring out the drug sniffing dog. Right? Dog got the day off. In other areas of the office, agents found items that federal officials say are commonly used in the distribution of controlled substances. This included numerous small plastic baggies, digital scales, and concealed compartment located inside a bookshelf. So, like, Jess, you have that beautiful bookshelf behind you right there. Just imagine if you, had a hollowed out book behind you.
I do have a couple in there.
Do you? Oh,
yeah, secret. Don't tell anyone.
I won't.
It's not where I keep my meth.
Yeah, you're probably not keeping your meth in there. Right. So what's next for Hot Tub? Well, if he's convicted, federal officials say Riles or Hot Tub will face a statutory maximum sentence of how many years in federal prison for 3.2 pounds of meth, Jess? I'm curious if you know what 3.2 pounds of meth will get you.
No, I mean, it's hard to say because people don't do enough time for crimes like killing people, but let's say 5 to 25 years.
Oh, you are in the pocket today, my friend.
Am I?
20 years in federal prison.
Right. Good. I like that.
Look at that. He remains in federal custody pending further court proceedings. The investigation was a joint operation between the FBI, Lubbock, Texas Anti-Gang Center, and Caprock High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, or HITDA. Let me tell you, for 3 agencies to get together to bust this guy and just walk in and look at his filing cabinet, to only get 20 years in prison seems like a lot to just get a guy for 3.2 pounds of meth.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll learn a little something when he's in there.
Right. Like better hiding places. I think, maybe not have the clubhouse at your house.
Well, I mean, he's going to have to learn better hiding places if he's in jail. He's going to have to use his secret pocket.
Yeah, well, yeah. the secret pocket, right? Yeah, that's for not safe for work territory, the secret pocket. Yeah, yeah. He'll learn more about that in jail, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll teach him. They'll learn him.
Somehow I feel like maybe this isn't his first time visiting jail, though. Don't you think?
Might not be, but he'll get a referral, of course. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like going back to DeVry to I don't know, upgrade your truck driving license. I don't know what you do at DeVry. I've never been there, but I'm sure it's something like that. I don't know. Something like that.
It's like riding a bike. It's like, you never forget. He'll remember how to be in prison when he gets there.
Except for he fell off a bunch of times. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, he fell off, spun up his knee, broke a leg or 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. Our next story has to do with a DWI suspect arrested after fleeing a NMSP checkpoint. Where are we going on this one? Oh, we're going to New Mexico State Police. Yes, New Mexico State. That's where we're going. An attempted stop at a DWI checkpoint. Oh, that's right. I remember this guy, Juan Torres. He had kind of a fun outing with the New Mexico State Police. He decided to do a little dance with them. An attempted stop at a DWI checkpoint on Friday night initiated a case that ended with the arrest of a 22-year-old man on multiple charges, including driving while intoxicated. A New Mexico State Police social media news release has said around 10 p.m., a black Kia. By the way, he tried to outrun the police in a black Kia. I had to you for ingenuity or stupidity.
Or just belief in yourself. Like,
Right. Yeah. It's the I think I can mentality, right?
Yeah, it's like the kid who closes his eyes and he's like, no one can see me.
Yeah. The I believe and I can achieve thing.
That's right. Yep.
I think this Kia can get up to 150 miles an hour and really can barely do 90. Yeah, I guess. So around 10 p.m., a black Kia drove at high speed through the checkpoint near the Interstate 25 North Frontage Road and Camino de Salud. New Mexico State Police officers chased the Kia through several red lights before stopping on Interstate 40 East. The driver of the Kia, later identified as Juan Torres, tried to switch seats with a passenger. Well, that was his first mistake. He refused to follow commands and said he was armed. That's the second mistake. Although it turned out he wasn't. Why would you do that?
Why would you say you are armed if you're not? And that could get you killed.
Right. Yeah, I mean, automatically weapons get drawn, right? When you say you're armed.
Yeah.
I mean, was he going to go like this and put up a finger gun and go pew pew? I mean, what were you going to do to pull him off? NMSP officers, assisted by Albuquerque Police Department officers, were eventually able to take Torres into custody once they found out it was just a finger gun he was holding up. Torres was belligerent, appeared to be intoxicated, and had an open container in the vehicle. He refused to be tested for alcohol or drugs, and police also found out he had a felony warrant for violating probation. So he had a little bit of a record. After being taken for medical clearance, Torres was booked into the Metropolitan Detention Center, charged with aggravated DWI or refusal, aggravated fleeing of an officer, resisting and obstructing, open container, no driver's license, and concealing identity, as well as the felony warrant charges. He had a lot going on that day. It was
a busy day.
It was a bad day for Juan Torres, that's for sure. Speaking of having a bad day, you think the suspects have a bad day. Well, I have a sheriff here that had a bad day, Jess. A sheriff started drinking 4 Loko at 6 a.m. and then goes to work because, by gosh, he's no quitter.
He had a job to do.
That's right. I'm going to show you a picture of this guy. Here he is. This is his booking photo.
All right.
He's no quitter. That's the look of a determined sheriff ready to go to work, even though he's had
dedicated to his craft.
That's right. Even though he's had a few 4 Lokos. I don't know how many 4 Lokos you'd have to do or have not to do this show.
One.
Yeah, pretty much one. And then you'd be in the can, so to speak, for the.
I'd be goofy, that's for sure.
There you go. So this cop expected to be let off the hook for drunk driving. Cops who keep their job after drunk driving to the shooting range, even cops who. I'm not going to read that sentence there. I think this is the author here had a bit of fun with a editorial at the beginning of the thing here. Georgia has given another variant for us. A sheriff arrested for DUI after allegedly knocking back 4 Lokos at 6 a.m. Local news channel WSB-TV caught the story in which Georgia's Hall County sheriff was arrested for drunk driving his county SUV while allegedly under the influence of 4 Loko. The deputies that caught the sheriff were in the area already in order to revoke his SUV privileges, taking back the county car due to the sheriff's prior drinking issues. So they were coming to take his SUV already because, no, you've driven drunk once too many. And he was getting into his vehicle already loaded up, ready for the day.
So many bad choices.
Isn't that fun? Yeah. It seems the top cop wanted one last cruise, however, and decided that he needed the combined stimulant and depressant of every frat bro's favorite beverage to start his day. So he just decided to give it a go. Alcoholism and addiction, of course, are very complex issues, given that the Georgia deputies were aware enough of the sheriff's issues with alcohol to try and claw back his Tahoe. It seems that this goes further than your average cop slamming a few too many shots and trying to make his way home from the bar. Still, why addicts deserve treatment that can genuinely help both their addictions and the underlying issues that cause them. It doesn't mean that they necessarily, it says here, this guy kind of editorializes here, deserve to be sheriffs, it says here, even if their decision-making is so impaired as they think drunk driving a Tahoe is perfectly fine behavior. Local residents are torn as to whether the sheriff should step down from his post, according to WSB TV. But it sure sounds like he shouldn't be in a position that has qualified immunity. It's again, they're editorializing here in this article. But it sounds like he's being charged for his indiscretion, or multiple indiscretions, I should say. So, yeah. Let me go to the original article here and tell you some more facts rather than editorializing here. It says here that once they came to get the SUV, well, you know what? That's also a editorialized article. I don't know what's up with all these editorialized articles, and it doesn't quite say what the outcome is yet, but they must be weighing his punishment as it is right now. But he no longer has the county SUV. I know that much, and they're weighing his fate as we speak right now.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. I don't know that he should be still in a job, right?
I mean, at the very least, you should have to get some counseling before he comes
treatment.
back.
Yeah, go to rehab, right?
Yeah, go to rehab.
And then reevaluate. But what I mean, if you're a sheriff and you don't have a vehicle, what do you do? I mean, you can't Uber everywhere.
Just answer the phone.
I mean, you'd probably have to have someone drive you, right? Someone from the department.
I guess. Yeah, maybe the deputy could be the driver and the sheriff just rides along.
I guess. Well, our next story has to do with a former Amazon employee who was charged with stealing $11,000 worth of phones and smartwatches. We'll put the shoe on the other foot, or as a good friend of mine says, the foo on the other foot. We go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, where a man is facing charges after the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department says he stole thousands of dollars worth of phones and smartwatches from Amazon. Authorities arrested David. This can't be his name. David, I want to say it's Baining, but it looks like Boning. It's Baining. It's got to be David Baining, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I
mean,
think it's David.
I don't know, kind of like boning. It's kind of
You kind of like boning, huh? It's David.
That came out wrong, but you know what I mean.
That's what she said. We'll say it's David Baining on a embezzlement charge Wednesday in relation to a November 2025 report. A loss prevention manager at Amazon told authorities that Baining stole more than $11,000 worth of phones and smartwatches over the course of 2 years. When you think of it that way, that's not a lot. It's a fair amount, but not a lot. The manager told police she confronted Baining about the theft and that he admitted to stealing the items while returning more than $4,000 worth of products. See, that's where he got himself in trouble. So he stole $11,000, but he returned items. That's where he got in trouble.
That's a bad idea.
The manager told officers that Baining told her that he stole the items for the thrill and didn't need the money. An affidavit Webb obtained notes that the theft was brought up to Amazon's Human Resources Department, where Baining admitted to stealing the items. The report adds Baining admitted to police over the phone he stole multiple items from Amazon. In that phone call, the affidavit said Baining told authorities he struggled with temptation in the thrill of stealing. Baining also told police he was willing to write an apology letter. He didn't say whether he was willing to reimburse them, though.
Yeah. That's kind of a hefty amount of money to have to reimburse, but $11,000.
You could do it over time,
I suppose.
But
isn't that the case? Like most of the time when people have a shoplifting problem, it's not because they're stealing because they need anything. It's the thrill of it.
Right. Yeah. It's completely the fact that they get that dopamine hit from doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was well aware of what he was doing. And he probably was well aware of the fact that he was going to get caught eventually. And there was probably some anxiety that he was going to get caught, but he couldn't stop. So he just kept going until the string ran out. So,
Yeah.
Our next story is actually an update on. I'm going to show you the picture of this guy here, Jess, and tell me if you remember this. I'll just call him what it is. This turkey right here. He was
okay.
He was from Florida. Do you remember the guy who wanted
shirtless and covered in tats? Right. That's what we have going on here.
Yep, and he wanted to fight everybody.
Oh, I'm trying.
Remember this?
Get my glasses on to see him a little better.
Remember this guy from the casino who had just won the Powerball?
Yes, I remember him.
Yeah, and he wanted to fight everybody. Well, actually, he's from Kentucky, and he had gone to, I believe, a casino in Florida. Powerball's $167.3 million man has pled guilty now in a cop battery case. The Kentucky man who last year won that $167.3 million Powerball jackpot has cut a plea deal to charges that he kicked a police officer in the face during a ruckus at a Florida vacation spot where he went to celebrate his sudden riches. Now, to give you a quick update on what this was that he did, I'll refresh your memories real quick here. He was originally charged with felony battery of a law enforcement officer. 50-year-old James Farthing pled guilty to a reduced misdemeanor charge in connection with the violent confrontation last year at Tradewinds Resort in St. Pete Beach. Farthing, who's a career criminal who spent nearly 30 years behind bars, was arrested a day after claiming the lottery windfall in Kentucky. Police reported being called to the hotel to deal with a tattooed man who was basically trying to fight everybody in the bar while boasting, "I'm a millionaire! I'm a millionaire!" Okay.
That's a good way to get jumped and robbed and
okay, you're a millionaire. Buy guys a shot. Don't get in a fight.
Shots on me.
That's right. Drinks on me instead of drinks all over you. I'm going to beat you. I'm a millionaire, right?
And kicking people in the face. That's what I remember about this story. Like my brain is just like, it's like a kung fu battle. Like he's kicking people in the face.
Right. Right. Well, he's a millionaire. I think he thinks he can get out of jail free because he's a millionaire, right?
Yeah.
When another patron who was unaware of the unruly guy's actual good fortunes called him delusional, Farthing punched the man in the face. He just whack. I am a millionaire. I don't know why he didn't just pull out a bank statement and say, well, no, look, or his winning Powerball ticket, say, I am, or a copy of it. When a sheriff's deputy sought to separate the pair as they grappled on a lobby floor, Farthing stood up and sought to kick the other guest. This is where the kicking comes in. Not in the face. Instead, he struck Deputy Nicholas Ariostatico in the face. Ow. Farthing was subsequently tased when he made a run for the hotel exit, as he should be.
I like that mental picture. He's running away. Taser gets him in the back. He's down.
Yep. Welcome to our tasing system. Farthing, court records show, pled guilty this past Friday to misdemeanor battery and obstruction charges. He was fined only $1,000, Jess, and sentenced to the time he previously served in the county lockup, which was all of 9 days. A petition filed by Farthing's lawyer noted that he had completed an 8-hour anger management class. I somehow don't think 8 hours is going to get this done. Yeah.
He's a career criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves to get in fights for no reason.
Yep.
I feel like that's just, oh well.
Yeah.
We'll see you later. We'll see you again next time.
Right. I somehow don't think you're in the middle of a crowded bar and a guy goes, "You didn't win the lottery." I somehow don't think taking a deep breath and counting to 10 is going to help him. Yeah. I think he's got deeper issues than that.
No, I think he's got kung fu fighting song in his brain playing at all times.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Yeah. Farthing is scheduled for an April 2nd court appearance for his latest criminal entanglement. He does have other stuff going on, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Well, at least he's a millionaire. So there's that.
Yep, he's a millionaire. If I remember right, his mom had some issues too.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. They were, a family that commits crimes together, stays together, or whatever that.
I think he had a son too, right? I feel like that was part of the story.
Something like that. Yeah. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of busy work there, if you will. All right. Trigger warning here. There's animals involved in the next two stories. So if you're a little sensitive to that, I would encourage you to fast forward into the file a couple of stories, maybe about, say, 8-9 minutes. I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yeah. I'm going to put Phoebe's earmuffs on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Phoebe Buffet. It's time for the earmuffs. Here we go. Okay. Although she might maybe approve of this first one. I don't know. Because one of my favorite all-time animals is gone Scarface.
What? A chipmunk?
Well, no. Okay. My second favorite animal is gone Scarface. Actually, that'd be pretty cool if Spud went Scarface and went,
yeah,
my little friend. That'd be kind of cool. A fool.
I'd watch that movie.
I would too. A chipmunk that, totally took over the drug world and started running cocaine. Although they'd have to take it in little tiny packages.
Yeah, I feel like we could sell this to Pixar.
But can you imagine how much they could run in one day? Because I have seen Spud move so many nuts in one day. So I have a feeling they could move so much coke. You have no idea. Anyways, I digress. A monkey and crack were found in a car stopped at a prison. That's our headline in this story.
What?
Yeah. We're going over to England, where a cheeky 1-year-old monkey has been discovered alongside what is believed to be a quantity of crack cocaine during the search of a car outside a prison.
It wasn't his.
You can't blame the monkey. He was like, in other words,
It was the man in the yellow hats, obviously.
That's right. It's always the man in the yellow hat.
That bad dude.
Bastard. Police said they were surprised to find the marmoset monkey was an unexpected passenger after the car was stopped outside HMP Morelands in Doncaster. That poor monkey. He's like, the young primate at the center of the monkey business, believed to be a pet, was safely removed from the vehicle and taken to an RSPCA sanctuary, according to the South Yorkshire Police. Following the search of the vehicle, which took place last week, 2 women in their 20s were arrested on suspicion of possession with intent to supply drugs and taken into custody. I'll have you known nowhere. The monkey did not stash any of the drugs anywhere on his person. He was not compliant with these 2 women. The RSPCA is now carrying out further inquiries as to how the monkey came to be in the car. I think he was just hijacked and told, get in the car.
I think he was monkey napped.
Monkey nap. Oh, monkey napped.
Yeah.
That's a great name for a movie. Monkey nap. The discovery of the marmoset was made by officers involved in what is known as Operation Gartley, which is a regular initiative in which police work with His Majesty's Prison and Probation Service to search visitors to Doncaster prisons. I wonder if the monkey gets searched. And if he knows what's going on at the time.
He has a cavity search. I mean, because he doesn't have any pockets. So
you just see him screaming.
He doesn't have pants on.
Right. They go to do the main back door search and he's like,
ooh.
Right. The vehicle was noticeable trying to avoid contact with our officers, and following a search of the vehicle, officers recovered a quantity of Class A drugs believed to be crack cocaine, the spokesperson added. Government figures estimate there are between 3,000 and 5,000 primates kept in homes in the UK. Really?
Wow. I had no idea.
That's a big thing over there.
I guess. So we're moving to the UK, Tim.
That's right.
Be one of the normal people.
It's the only place we can keep a monkey, I guess. From April 6, 2026, new legislation will come into force, which will require all private keepers of primates in England to obtain a specialist primate license from their local authority. You got to be a specialist now, I guess.
I would do that for a monkey. I would become a specialist in monkeyology.
You know what I would do? Here's what I would do, Jess. This is how I'm going to get my specialist license over in England. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my monkey in a little lab coat with a pair of glasses and tell them that I've trained him to be a pharmacist.
There you go.
Therefore, my monkey can work in the drug trade because he is a pharmacist. So he's
It's
got
not illegal.
smart little glasses on, and he's got his little lab coat. And
He's a doctor.
he's a
He's a doctor of pharmaceuticals.
Dr. George, Dr. Curious George. Right. I think it'll work.
I think it could totally work.
Yeah.
You should try it and report back.
I will. I'll give it a go and we'll see what happens.
And we'll be recording from prison in the UK.
That's right. Hopefully they have good internet there.
Yeah.
And they have a somewhat quiet studio. Neither will be available to me, but we'll see. I wonder, you're probably going to have to host the show from here on out, Jess.
Can't do it without you.
You can do it. It's easy. Our next story. Oh boy, you're really gonna. Does Phoebe have those earmuffs on?
Keep them on, Phoebe.
Okay, keep them on. This is a tough one. Here we go. A Chihuahua was thrown from a speeding car.
No.
These two, you know what, were the ones who did.
Hey, look at her face. That is such a scowl.
Yeah, these are.
It's like, I hate Chihuahuas. I hate dogs.
They don't have a conscience.
Wow.
I'm about to tell you some details here, Jess, that will curl your hair. Not like this one here on the left. I mean, that looks like somebody put spaghetti on her head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just looks so mean.
They both look mean, don't they?
Well, they have very different expressions on their face. The other one looks like, I'm going to rip your heart out and eat it.
Yeah.
Like, she just looks mean. And the other one's like,
looks like
I'm
she
stupid.
Looks like she got hit in the head with a frying pan. Yeah. That's true. Twin sisters are facing animal cruelty charges after a 16-year-old Chihuahua.
Oh, baby, he's like 100 years old.
No, like you can't fight. He's 16 years old.
Why would you do that to him? He should be living his golden years where you just carry him in a purse and love him.
Yeah. Or just has a little pillowy like throne that he sits on and you just bring him meals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw him out of the car. I hate this story, Tim.
I do too, but Jess, in all fairness, we got to report what we got to report. Was thrown from a car as it traveled about 50 miles per hour on a Florida roadway. While the dog, a 3-pound dog named Princess, a long-haired Chihuahua named Princess, suffered serious injuries, its owner refused emergency medical treatment for the canine at a local veterinarian. Okay, we shoot the owner too. This is how it comes down. I think this is what we need to do. It's like an old Steve McQueen, Clint Eastwood movie. You and I will go on a vengeance hunt. Go get an old 74 something or another, and we'll go take a ride down to Florida, and we'll just go hunting these people down.
Amen.
Which prompted animal welfare officials to subsequently take custody of the dog. Thank God, because none of them deserve it.
No.
54-year-old Tracy Fitzgerald and her sister Stacy were arrested Thursday evening on felony counts. Tracy and Stacy are the two evil ones that I showed the picture to Jess of. Police say that Stacy, the dog's owner, was sitting in the passenger seat of an SUV being driven by Tracy when the January 22nd incident occurred. While the car moved along a Largo road, Tracy allegedly threw the Chihuahua out of the front passenger side window. Witness told the cops the dog was thrown approximately 5 feet from the vehicle onto the sidewalk. The witness identified Tracy as the dog tosser. By the way, that is a horrible criminal name if I've ever heard it. When you go to jail, is it Tracy or Stacy that did this? Tracy. When Tracy goes to jail and gets known as the dog tosser, they're going to throw a bed sheet over a pipe and hang her from it. They're going to say, there you go, dog tosser.
Don't abuse children and don't abuse pets.
That's right. According to police and veterinary records, Princess's injuries included acute blunt force trauma, abrasions that exposed vulnerable parts of her cranium, a bleeding eye, and suspected traumatic brain injury.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But despite the dog's condition, Stacy declined emergency medical treatment and life-saving measures, of course, because they're guilty of the crime. In the face of a recalcitrant owner, the county's Animal Services Division took custody of Princess and began civil proceedings against Stacy. The dog seized is suffering, and it is evident from the circumstances surrounding the removal that the owner cannot care for them and will not, in the foreseeable future, be capable of caring for the animal, officials contended. Attempts to serve Stacy with legal papers have proved fruitless, though she has responded belligerently to texts and phone calls from a county process server. Stacy reportedly complained about not having access to her dog and ended one conversation with, "Go F yourself." Yeah, nice lady. Yeah.
She wants to have access to her dog. She's mad about it. She threw it out a freaking moving car's window.
Right. Yeah. In one text, she wrote, "You the robbers, I'm the copper." She added, "I guess y'all forgot I'm the victim." You're not the victim. The dog is.
Oh my gosh. What a freak.
Yeah. The Fitzgerald sisters were arrested Thursday evening, about time, and booked to the county jail. Tracy was released after posting $5,000 bond, and a judge ordered that she is not to own or possess any animals. After a night in jail, Stacy was released on her own recognizance. I think they should have locked both of them up, threw away the key.
Yeah.
That's just me. There's one other horrible animal story here, Jess, and I swear we will get to Not Safe for Work.
This is torture.
Actually, you know what? Let's go to Not Safe for Work because I think we have to for this next story.
Oh, no.
We'll go to Not Safe for Work. Hide your kids, hide your wife. We'll do it. Actually, and then hide your boss and hide your kids. Probably hide your boss in another room. Put on, I don't know, whatever the boss watches, whether it's Marshalls or whatever, and then put on Bluey for the kids. We'll do that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like I said, this is as well as an animal story. They say whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. This story did not stay in Vegas.
And
And
we're going to wish it did, though, huh?
yes, you're going to wish it did. And this is one of the absolute no-nos when you go to Vegas. You can pretty much do anything you want in Vegas, Jess, except for this. Las Vegas police say a tourist stole and then tortured a flamingo at an iconic strip hotel.
What?
Yeah, you can't do that. The tourist faces charges after Las Vegas police said he stole a flamingo from the Flamingo Hotel and took the bird back to his room, injuring it.
Well, what's he going to do with it in his room?
Right? You and I go to the same place here, right? I want you to guess where this man is from first.
Florida?
See, you would automatically say that. I would too. Someone told
or
me.
Wisconsin.
Okay, that would be the other place, right? I would automatically, if you told me somebody stole a flamingo from the Flamingo, took it back to their hotel room, I go Florida. Second place, Wisconsin.
Florida, man. Yeah.
Third place, I don't know, Texas, right?
Is it?
Fourth place, Alabama. I'm automatically, I'm taking swings, right? Believe it or not, 33-year-old Mitchell Fairbairn is from Ontario, Canada.
What? He came down to our country to harass our wildlife? I guess it's not wild, but
Has he never seen a flamingo before?
why would he do that?
He faces 4 counts of felony animal abuse, according to court records. By the way, Jess, this is why I said maybe we should keep it for Not Safe for Work. This is an actual screenshot from the hotel hallway.
Oh, no.
He and his buddy aren't wearing shirts.
Well, yeah, like what are they planning to do with this poor flamingo?
Yeah.
And how does one get their arms around a flamingo? Like,
I don't know.
I would think it would like run away from you.
Or start pecking one or the other. Here's another.
Yeah.
Here's another picture in the elevator.
Oh, he's just holding it. Huh.
Yeah,
There's a little alcohol involved in this decision-making process.
I think so too. I maybe it's because the bird can't tell that Canadians are nice, so he's like, okay, we'll go wherever you want to go. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're kind of tame and the flamingo just let the guy pick him up.
Yeah. On Tuesday, March 3rd, Metro Police received a call from the hotel about a man later identified as Fairburn who allegedly broke into the property's flamingo habitat and injured several birds. Police reviewed surveillance footage, which they said showed Fairburn and Peachy. Fairburn also allegedly injured other animals in the process, including pinning down a second bird and not letting it escape. The video then shows Fairburn returning to a hotel room with the animal. Fairburn allegedly admitted to police that he trespassed into the bird habitat after seeing a flamingo in distress. He told police he popped the bird's wing into place.
Oh, he was just trying to help it.
Yeah, right.
Obviously.
Yeah. Listen here, flamingo whisperer. I don't think that's what happened. He stated he knows that popping the wing back into place is a common practice for birds such as ducks, police said. He has knowledge of this because he's a farm boy, he said. Right. That's what it was.
Okay.
On Fairburn's phone, police located several photos and videos of him with the animal, including him torturing it, police said. In one video, Fairburn indicated he was taking the bird home. Oh, God. This guy is weird.
Wow.
Animal control advised Fairburn injured the bird when he allegedly pulled the wing out of the bird's body, police said.
Oh, Tim, I hate this story.
No, it's bad, isn't it? Several other birds also were injured, according to police. Inside the hotel room, police located a large bloody feather along with other material, they said. During a probable cause hearing on Wednesday, Las Vegas Justice Court Judge Susan Baucom set bail at $12,000. That's it. Ordering Fairburn to have no animals in his possession and to surrender his passport. She then hooked up a battery and cables to his nuts and went nuts. No, that's just my.
I wish that part was true.
Yeah, but it didn't happen. I wish it would have happened, but it didn't. Baucom also ordered him to stay away from the strip. Records show Fairburn posted bond on Wednesday, though he remained listed at the Clark County Detention Center as of Wednesday afternoon. On its website, Caesars Entertainment, which owns the Flamingo Hotel, said the habitat is home to a flock of Chilean flamingos, multiple species of exotic waterfowl, and brown pelicans. Caesars put out your basic statement about the flamingos, which we don't have to go through. Fairburn was scheduled to appear in courts today, but I don't have an update on that story.
I feel like a fair punishment would be to hog tie him, cover him in like honey, and then roll him in birdseed and just toss him in there and let the birds have at him.
Yeah, especially around the eyes.
Yeah.
Pop his wings, though, first. Yeah, so he can't fight back.
And what's similar to feathers on him? Pull out all of his pubes one by one.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's fair. I think that's
something painful.
Something quite painful. Yeah.
Do it in such a way that it draws blood.
Right. I think you're right on that, Jess. All right, let's switch gears here. When I drive back and forth to St. Cloud, I go past the jail there in St. Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, you'll see crews out there working on the highway. I always think to myself, when they're out and about and they're doing their cleaning, I wonder if they ever get away for a break. I mean, not like get away from the chain gang, for good, because then they'd be out in the community. But there are signs along the highway that say, if you see somebody hitchhiking along the highway, do not pick them up.
Oh,
because
solid advice everywhere, but particularly around a prison.
Right. And supposedly you can see the wall around the St. Cloud Penitentiary from space. It's like one of the biggest walls next to the Great Wall of China.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm saying to myself, I wonder if one of these guys got away from the chain gang for just a minute, what would they do? If they could, right? If they had just maybe like 10 minutes to break away and come back, what would they do with that brief freedom? Because there is a quick trip just right up the road from the jail, a little gas station.
Mm-hmm.
If they got a brief respite away and then were able to get back to the chain gang, what would you do with that 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, go get yourself a big gulp and a little hot dog off the little rotisserie thing.
Yeah, a little bit of freedom, right?
Yeah.
Well, one inmate decided to take his little break away from the chain gang this week.
What'd he do?
Well, let me tell you, Jess. He got a lot done in just a short amount of time. We're going to Florida, where a jail trustee got in a porta potty assignation. In other words, the inmate snuck away for a toilet tryst at a barbecue fundraiser. That's right. He got some barbecue and he got a little meat action, if you know what I mean.
In a porta potty?
In a porta potty.
Oh, wow. That must have been a classy girl.
Well, I can show you a picture of her if you like. Here's the two right here. Here's the lucky couple.
Oh. They don't look very proud of themselves.
No, they don't, do they? They look, it was more of a situation of desperation, I would say. Do you know what they say, Jess? If the porta potties are rocking, don't bother knocking. Unless, of course, the toilet is on the grounds of the sheriff's, and believe it or not, it was the sheriff's annual barbecue fundraiser where they hooked up.
Wow.
A little brazen for this couple. And it's being occupied by a male inmate who snuck off from a work assignment for sex with a woman who recently called the lockup home. So a couple former inmates.
Oh, okay.
Or one former inmate and one current. By all accounts, Wednesday's Indian River County Sheriff's Office event was a hit, raising $63,000 for a Florida charity. Attendees were offered tours of the jail, and they enjoyed SWAT and canine demonstrations during the 32nd annual affair. Food choices included $2 hot dogs and $7 plates, pork or chicken. Evidently, they took pork a little too far.
Right, literally.
Literally. To help staff the fundraiser, organizers employed some inmates who could be counted on when beyond the prison walls, known as trustees. Their tasks include serving food and maintenance of the grounds, so they could be trusted, supposedly, right? One such trustee was Hartley Sanchez, who's all of 35 years old. The Vero Beach man has been locked up in advance of trial on theft and drug possession charges. According to a police report, Sanchez was assigned to the barbecue serving line when he snuck away to a bank of portable toilets around 5:30 p.m. As recorded by surveillance cameras, Sanchez spoke with two women, one of whom eventually entered into a porta potty. Sanchez subsequently joined her inside after checking if the coast was clear. I guess everybody needs some loving too. When jailers later questioned him about the trip to the John, Sanchez spontaneously, openly, and freely stated he had had sex with a female in the porta potty. Sanchez allegedly walked 50 yards away from his work post to the toilets to engage in an unauthorized conjugal visit to hook up or have sexual intercourse, according to the arrest report. Asked about his companion, Sanchez said, "I'm not willing to say who she was." However, after a review of video footage, investigators identified the woman as 36-year-old Elizabeth Greer, who's a former jail inmate. Greer was freed from custody about 2 months ago after serving time for credit card theft and possession of drug paraphernalia. The nature of the relationship between Sanchez and Greer, who also lives in Vero Beach, is not addressed in court records. The porta potty pair is, well, of course, pictured, and we showed that picture on video. For his toilet dalliance, Sanchez was charged with prisoner escape or attempted escape, which is a second-degree felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison.
What?
I hope it was good for Sanchez. By the way, you know what they call that little porta potty tryst?
No.
A dirty Sanchez.
Gross.
He is scheduled to be arraigned, by the way, on April 8th for his little tryst in the porta potty. Greer, who is on probation until late 2027, has not been charged in connection with Sanchez's early release. That is, if he did have an early release. But yeah, my guess is she's going back.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So was she just a guest at the fundraiser and did they know each other and she knew he was going to be like, I have so many questions about how this came to happen.
No idea, but evidently
How these two came to love one another in the porta potty.
If they're from the same town, they might know each other.
Huh. It's like a Hallmark movie, only the opposite.
Only not, right? Well, speaking of affairs of the fart, see what I did there?
Oh,
We
Tim.
we have a little bit of a shitty situation out on the highway, so we'll go to that here instead. We'll make that segue here. We're going to Roaring Spring, Pennsylvania, where it's been reminded to drivers that this time of year you should keep your distance from other vehicles and farm equipment, which is a good idea.
Solid advice.
Reason being is that there was a Blair County crash earlier this week that involved two vehicles and a farmer, specifically a farmer's manure pump.
Oh, ugh.
And they've been reminded to please slow down because, Jess, this is what happens when you
It's gonna be
directly
fun.
hit a farmer's manure pump.
Oh, no.
Nobody was injured, by the way, in this crash.
But I bet they smelled real bad.
Oh my God, right? But they did have to run the people to the hospital. Let me tell you about this shitty situation if I can. Oh, ugh. A local fire department is asking drivers to be alert to farmers and farm equipment being on the roads after responding to a crash a week ago Monday. Friendship Fire Company of Roaring Spring was dispatched at 6:22 a.m. March 2nd for a motor vehicle crash. Upon arrival, Chief 60 is what they call him, found two vehicles in the roadway that were involved with a manure pump that was being pulled by a tractor. Yummy. According to the fire company, the tractor and pump were rear-ended by a vehicle. This pushed the manure pump into the other lane, causing a second car to crash into it. No serious injuries were reported, but one person was taken to a local hospital. Friendship Fire gave thanks to Station 40 for the assist and then addressed motorists as winter is starting to come to an end, reminding people that they live in a rural farming community with tractors and equipment that are around at all times. Right now, many farmers are trying to get manure down before the ground gets too soft. They ask motorists to be mindful of this, particularly in the morning hours. While no one was injured, they said farm equipment is very expensive to replace. And you too don't want to create a shitty situation. Please slow down and keep your attention on the roadway, they said. Farmers make the world go around. And we appreciate all the ones that we have here in our wonderful community. And we'd like to make sure they get to go home to their families as well, which is a nice message.
That is. And you know how long it takes to fill up that manure pump? I mean,
yeah,
as a kid who used to have to scoop the poop,
yeah, I bet.
no small task.
That's right. Can you imagine those kids who are like, they destroyed the manure pump?
You wasted it?
You wasted all of that? And now you got to do it again?
Oh,
I'm willing to bet they're not too happy. That's for sure.
no.
That's for sure. All right. We're going to end with the disturbing upon all disturbing stories. And then we have a palate cleanse.
Okay.
So buckle down, Buttercup. Here we go.
I always get scared when you tell me we're in not safe for work and it's going to be really bad.
You have to weather the storm to get to the rainbow, right?
That's true.
Essentially is the way this thing goes. All right. This story, let's see. Where's this one coming out of? This story comes out of LA. And boy, is it a disturbing one. Literally, it says a disturbed man dies after allegedly cutting off his penis in a bloody DTLA scene.
What? He did it to himself?
He did it to himself.
Wow, that's a unique form of suicide.
That it is. A man died
Wow.
after allegedly cutting off his own penis in downtown LA, according to police and witnesses. The bloody incident unfolded around 3:40 a.m. on Saturday morning across from the LA Convention Center, where responding officers found a man self-mutilating near the intersection of Figueroa and Pico, according to the LA Police Department. Emergency responders pronounced the man dead at the scene. I mean, you have to believe mental illness is part of this, right?
Oh, for sure. And probably some sort of hard drugs.
You would think. you would think. A journalist for On Scene TV who captured the gruesome scene, yes, it was captured on video, reported that the man bled to death after cutting off his own penis. Police would not confirm that detail. I wouldn't either if I were the police. I wouldn't confirm it to anyone. The LAPD did not know the man's motivation for hurting himself and said that the LA County medical examiner would determine his identity. Footage from the scene showed a white tent over the man's body next to a pool of blood on the sidewalk. Oh my God.
That is the ultimate gruesome.
Yeah. And the article I'm looking at has pictures. I don't know that I dare post it. Clothes were seen scattered on the ground nearby next to even more blood. The journalist at the scene said the man had taken off his clothing as he was walking toward a 7-Eleven before collapsing. Police closed a road near the scene with yellow tape and flares. Sad story, but it's, again, I have to guess that, there's mental illness that comes into it. There's probably some sort of depression that goes into it. And, there's no sign of a note or anything like that. There was nothing that said that, just desperation. That's for sure. All right. And finally, now we have our palate cleanser. Now that we've gotten the necessary darker stories out of the way, we can acknowledge that we have a brighter day ahead of us, right?
Yeah. Take us to the rainbow, Tim.
All right. Well, today's theme is more, so you think you've had a bad day.
Okay.
All right. We'll start off with one eager beaver who might have been a little too eager. Literally an eager beaver who might have been a little too eager.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. We go to Redmond, Washington, where a determined beaver ignored all traffic laws trying to cross the road to get to the other side.
Oh, that could end in tragedy.
Oh, but it didn't. A determined beaver sparked an unusual police response in Redmond, Washington, earlier this week. The Redmond Police Department posted on X describing the scenario with some humor, saying officers responded to a report of a suspicious subject described as a determined beaver trying to cross the road at Heavendale Road Northeast and Northeast 95th Street. The department posted body camera footage from the call showing officers attempting to gently guide the animal out of the roadway and back into the wooded area. This is their post on X or on Twitter. It says wildlife enforcement update on February 25th, 2026 at approximately 10:15 p.m. Redmond police officers responded to a report of a suspicious subject described as a determined beaver attempting to cross the road near the intersection of Avondale Road Northeast and Northeast 95th Street with...
He doesn't want to go on the sidewalk. Oh.
With the video here, if you can hear it in the background.
Don't bite me.
He says, "Don't bite me, okay?"
Where you came from? Yeah. Oh my God. No.
It's quite the cute video. I'm going to post the video here in the description of the program so you can see them trying to guide him across the sidewalk. They're like, get on the sidewalk, get on the sidewalk. And he's just sitting in the gutter like, oh, come on, dude, leave me alone. I'll show you a little bit here on video of this determined beaver.
Oh, he's so cute.
He's just like, just get away from me, dude. I'll read you the rest of this description here of what the police department had to say about this determined little beaver who tried to get away. They say that he was attempting to cross the road near the intersection of Avondale Road Northeast and Northeast 95th Street with zero regard for public safety. Despite clear verbal commands, the subject refused to comply and continued evading officers, demonstrating blatant disregard for crosswalks, traffic signals, and basic roadway safety rules. After several patient attempts and some skilled negotiations, officers successfully coaxed the beaver across the roadway. and into a nearby wooded area where he was last seen continuing his evening plans. During the incident, the beaver did deploy his tail in a brief act of resistance, slapping one officer's hand. Unfortunately, it said no injuries were reported, no arrests were made, and no citations were issued. We are told the suspect lacks both ID and driver's license. Please use caution in the area, especially at night. The individual has shown a clear pattern of ignoring traffic laws. Body-worn camera footage, courtesy of RPD, with additional cell phone footage generously contributed by Jolla Chopin.
That's the best story of the day.
Yeah. So there's that little bit about our little beaver friend who was an eager little beaver and just was trying to get to wherever he was trying to get to. And then we have a second palate cleanser here. That is, of course, if I can get to it here, which is quite cute as well. That wasn't the one I was looking for. Where did my other one go? Oh, maybe we should just end on that one.
I guess we could.
We could end on that one. Where was the other one I had? I had a second one here. Well, you know what? I think we might have to just end on that one. I can't find my second one.
Well, I think that's a good one to end on. It made me very happy.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's our little eager beaver. So if you think you had a bad week, well, you can always try again, because the eager beaver did. He got to the other side of the road.
That's right. With a little help from his friends.
That's right. With a little help from his friends at the police department. So there you go. That's how we end our show today. So Jess, what do you have going on in your world?
Well, you don't have anything right now, and it's so nice. I had an event last week, and it's over, and I turned a book in last week, so I have I have another book due, so I just took a week off.
Oh,
didn't touch my laptop all weekend. Yeah.
You only have 10 more due this year, right?
2 more.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, sorry, I lied. 3 more.
3 more, yes. 3 more, only 3 more due this year. No pressure.
Yeah.
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 Are they staggering them for you at least, or is it a high pressure situation where they're all due in a month?
Yeah, it's like write a book every 3 months, but it's okay. I did it to myself. I signed the contracts.
Oh my gosh.
It's great. I'm so blessed. But I did take a week off. I'm felt really proud of myself for just not doing anything. Cleaned my closet. It was amazing.
I am also proud of you. That is a pressure cooker to be in.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is a pressure cooker to be in. People who have never written a book try to write 4 of them in 1 year. I bet you will tear your hair out. You'll look like me by the time you're done.
Yeah.
You won't have any hair.
And the miracle is my co-writer and I, we still love each other. We just keep on on going.
That is a minor miracle indeed. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. Well, on this end of things, Supernatural News tomorrow with Mally Fox. And then we have an old friend stopping by to talk spooky stories on
I love it.
Yeah, on Thursday. So we got a full week ahead. Full week ahead. And a popular one at that, popular old friend that you guys absolutely love. We'll be back on Thursday. So yeah, we're moving ahead full steam in March here. So it's going to be a good week. So I want to thank Caitlin Rother for being on the program today. And again, her brand new book is in the description of this program. So go pick up Caitlin Rother's brand new book. And again, we appreciate her for being on the program today and spending time with us. It's always great to have Caitlin on the program here. And her brand new book is Hooked. So go get that as well. All right. That'll do it for today. We appreciate you for being with us here again. Go support the program, True Crime Tuesday, by going to our shop at darknessradioshow.com. Go get a True Crime Tuesday hoodie, a mug, a desk mat, whatever. Support the program. Also be on the lookout for a Darkness Radio Apple app update, which should be in your, whatever you call it, your queue, your tray, whatever, relatively soon so that you can update that as well. All right, for Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for joining us today on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.
For more audio and video archives of True Crime Tuesday, intriguing content, fun events, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. The executive producer of True Crime Tuesday is Troy Palmer. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure you like and subscribe. This videocast is copyrighted for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this videocast, including audio, video, descriptions, or accounts of today's show, is prohibited without the consent of Darkness Radio Management. Thank you for watching. And be sure to join us tomorrow for Supernatural News with Mally Fox.